Live from WRAL News Headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
And it looks like we're going to start the day with at least a few showers on Saturday. I'll walk you through the timeline, show you how much we'll see and how it could affect your weekend.
19 hours later, NC 54 near Durham is back open after a car crashed into a power pole. The questions we're asking about why it took so long for the road to reopen and the problem spots in the area for drivers.
Plus, economic outlook. The last government shutdown caused a lot of catching up to do at the end of the year. The results from the jobs report as we start the new year.
Now at noon, a cold front is on the way and will bring rain and storms for part of the weekend. Thank you for joining us. I'm Renee Chu.
And I'm Chris Lovingood. We've been talking about this all day long, Elizabeth. That rain, the next weather maker on the way. It's really Saturday. That's what you have your eyes on this afternoon.
Absolutely. And here's the front right here. Kristen, you can see some of that rain back here across Tennessee and getting ready to move into the mountains of North Carolina. It's possible that parts of the state will see some rain overnight tonight, but it's not likely that we'll see a whole lot of that until early tomorrow morning. This system does have a history of producing some severe storms overnight. It was parts of Illinois and Indiana. So far in the last couple of hours, it's been Mississippi. There have been multiple tornado warnings there. The bulk of the severe weather will stay to the south today and tomorrow. It will be more likely that we see it in the western part of the state, but it's just a level 1 risk. So that doesn't look like something that's going to cause us any real issues. This is a look at our updated brand new run of the short range models, which are high resolution. This kicks off at about 4 o'clock. By 7 to 8 o'clock, you can start to see some rain from Durham up toward Roxborough. Notice how Raleigh, Southern Pines, Fayetteville, Clinton, Goldsboro look like they're going to stay dry up until lunchtime. But the farther north and west you are in the morning, you'll have a better chance of seeing some showers. Then, as we get into the afternoon, that rain slides eastward, but it begins to weaken. There's the potential as the front comes through, as we get into the late evening and overnight, that we would have the potential for thunderstorms. But this newest run of the model looks pretty wimpy on that front. Back here to the west, so this is where we're seeing those tornado warnings that have been popping up here across parts of Mississippi. That's where we'll have the best chance of any severe storms today. Tomorrow, it shifts eastward, but only includes our north and western counties. Of course, we're going to have very warm temperatures ahead of this system and turning much colder behind it. I'll walk you through that coming up.
All right, thank you, Elizabeth. And this is a great time to make sure you have the WRAL weather app downloaded to your phone right now. You can track weather on the radar there hour by hour and receive updates right to your home screen, and it is free to download. All right, we're talking about relief for drivers on Highway 54 near Durham. That busy stretch, it has reopened after being shut down for more than 19 hours.
Police say a car hit a utility pole, bringing down power lines yesterday afternoon. WRAL's Flynn Snyder is live at the intersection of Highway 54 and Farrington Road, where the crash happened. Flynn, crews remain there on the scene.
Here today, all lanes of NC 54 at Farrington Road have reopened. This is near the Orange-Durham County lines, just past I-40 here. But if you take a look over here, there are some utility crews still on scene here working to fix that power pole that was damaged in the crash here yesterday. Take a look at some video from this scene, which shows a damaged black car involved in the crash. Durham police say the driver, an adult woman, was taken to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. Motorists were stuck in backups for miles throughout the busy rush hour yesterday evening, as video from Sky 5 shows the damaged intersection with wires down on the street. Broadcastify radio traffic captured the response.
Next unit on scene, I need you to go towards Chapel Hill. I need you to shut it down. I've got lines coming across 54 just past Farrington Road, and I got a bunch of big rigs coming my way. They're going to take these lines down even more.
So it certainly shows the chaos that first responders had to deal with yesterday here. Lanes reopened just after 9 o'clock this morning. The downed wires also knocked out power to some nearby customers. Those outages have also now been restored. Flint Snyder, WRAL News, live in Durham.
And new at noon, we have learned one person is in the hospital after a single vehicle crash involving a power pole. This happened we are aware of on the Sunnybrook Road area. Police say that the driver hit a tree and then a power pole, and this caused down utility lines in that area, which led to power outages. Wake Tech's Perry Health Sciences campus ran on a 3-hour delay because of this. Duke Energy was on scene for hours working on repairs, but police say no charges have been filed right now.
It has been nearly 1 week since Ravenscroft teacher Zoe Welsh was murdered in her own home. While Welsh's family prepares for her funeral, the murder suspect, Ryan Camacho, sits in the Wake County Jail without bond. WRAL has uncovered details about Camacho's lengthy criminal history every day this week. We continue to ask accountability questions about the handling of past cases in Wake and Durham counties. Camacho was in jail until December 4th after misdemeanor convictions in Durham. The original charges in that case were felonies and reduced to misdemeanors in a plea deal. The Durham district attorney stands behind her decision to sign off on that plea deal. If convicted at the felony level, Camacho would still have been in prison. You can find our day-by-day coverage on WRAL.com. Search Zoe Welsh to find the questions we're asking of law enforcement and elected leaders in Raleigh and Durham, their handling of Camacho's long string of crimes, and how WRAL is holding the criminal justice system accountable. You will also find stories shared by people who encountered Camacho and those who shared memories of Zoe Welsh. Go to WRAL.com and type Zoe Welsh in the search box.
Nidell police are investigating after a 16-year-old was shot in the foot. What you're seeing here is video from the breaking news tracker of that scene. This was near Park Place Apartments off Electric Avenue around 1 o'clock this morning. Officers and canines were searching areas around that complex throughout the morning, but police say there's no suspect information at this time, but also there's no known threat to the community. Protests erupted nationwide over the killing of 37-year-old Renee Good. And during calls for a transparent investigation, the FBI has taken over the probe, with the Minnesota agency saying it has been blocked from accessing key material. Brian Abel is in Minneapolis with a little bit more on that story.
Protests and vigils around the country Thursday in response to the shooting death of a woman in Minneapolis by an immigration and customs enforcement agent, deepening tensions over the Trump administration's immigration crackdown.
ICE is killing people, and that's why I'm out here.
37-year-old Renee Nicole Good, a U.S. citizen, was shot and killed Wednesday by an ICE agent while seated in the driver's seat of her car. The federal government has described Good's actions as domestic terrorism, with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem claiming Good tried to, quote, weaponize her vehicle.
You've got to be a little brainwashed to get to that point to where you're willing not just to protest, that's fine, not peacefully protest, but throw your vehicle in front of legitimate law enforcement officers and drive your car into them.
But local and state officials have strongly rejected that description and have blasted the rush to judgment.
It's beyond me that apparently from the federal government, from the Homeland Security Director herself, has already determined who this person was, what their motive was, and they hadn't even been taken out of the vehicle.
And while people in Minnesota are pushing for a transparent investigation, Oregon officials are investigating a separate shooting in Portland by a Border Patrol agent that wounded a married couple in a car Thursday.
We're calling on ICE to halt all operations in Portland until a full and independent investigation can take place.
We'll, of course, continue to monitor both situations and bring any kind of update on air and online at WRAL.com.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, the Supreme Court just postponed a ruling that they were scheduled to make today. Now, this would have been a decision on whether President Trump can issue tariffs without congressional approval. So several states, about a dozen states, and some small businesses were suing the Trump administration over high import costs because of tariffs. So now the Trump administration may have to refund tens of billions in tariff revenues, depending on what the Supreme Court's decision will be, but that decision has been postponed to next week.
The December jobs numbers show employment growth was a bit less than experts expected.
This morning, experts with the Keenan-Flagler Institute looked at the numbers and how this report could affect the economy. WRAL's Ken Smith listened to the briefing. He joins us now with the major takeaways. Ken.
You know, Renee and Chris, the bottom line in terms of the economy, we're not in a recession, but the latest numbers are worrisome to Keenan-Flagler's chief economist. The government shutdown for the unemployment rate was a situation where the unemployment rate ticked down just about a little bit. Take a look at what Chief Economist Gerald Cohen had to say when he talked about whether or not inflation is coming down and the impact it could have on consumer spending.
If you're not getting a lot of job creation, then you're not having that push to consumer spending as well. So job creation spurs consumer spending, purchasing power spurs growth, spurs consumer spending, and so we're seeing both of those weaken.
Well, Cohen noted the unemployment rate ticked down a percentage point at 4.4%. He says the reason that number has not risen by more is because the labor force has grown relatively slowly. Cohen says this first quarter, coupled with what the Fed plans to do about interest rates coming up, will have a telling effect on the economy moving forward.
Ken, thank you. Let's take a look at how stocks are doing this Friday. The Dow Jones Industrial Average up 273 points. S&P 500 also in the green, advancing 45 points. And NASDAQ up 189 points. All three major averages on track for a winning week. We'll see how they close on our evening news. The Panthers are double-digit underdogs in their game tomorrow. They're going to need all the help they can get. That includes the fans and former players.
And the thing is, former players don't get much bigger than Cam Newton, right? This week, the team hinted on social media Newton would bang the Panthers' keep pounding drum before Saturday's wildcard game versus the LA Rams.
For me, it's just we can use all the help we can get. You know, you talk about bringing juice, you know, and that's that momentum and that energy that comes, you know, and I think about Cam, you know, I just think of aura, you know, and like he's the biggest big person, you know, it's not just, you know, by his height and size, but also just the personality. And I just, you know, if that happens, I think it's amazing. And we can use any type of energy and that enthusiasm. And I know that I know our fans in Bank of America Stadium will be fired up if that does happen.
And Dave Canales wouldn't confirm if it was true, but he's all in. Kickoff for tomorrow's game is at 4:30 p.m. And yes, you can watch that action over on Fox 50. We'll have team coverage leading up to the big game. We're talking about Ashley Rowe, Chris Lee, Pat Welter, and Sean Gallagher in Charlotte today. And they're going to have live reports this afternoon, and that starts at 4 p.m.
We'll have plenty more NFL wildcard games you can watch this weekend. On Sunday, the Philadelphia Eagles host the San Francisco 49ers. Kickoff is at 4:30 on Fox 50. And here on WRAL on Sunday night, the Los Angeles Chargers visit the New England Patriots. Coverage starts at 7. Kickoff is at 8.
Next at noon, political prisoner release. Why Venezuela is letting these people go and why President Trump says it was a smart move.
Car seat recall. Parents will walk you through what could be wrong with nearly 75,000 of these seats and why they are a danger risk for your baby.
And RDU Glow Up, we got to look at the changes that are happening at the airport and how your travel experience could change.
Coming up next, sea storms moving in with WRAL's exclusive Dual Doppler 5000, sponsored by the WRAL Weather app. Download now for live radar.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, a man who's accused of killing a healthcare executive is in the courtroom right now. Luigi Mangione's hearing was scheduled to happen at 11 o'clock this morning. We'll show you some video now from the last time that he was in court late last year. His lawyers want the judge to drop 2 of the 4 federal charges he's facing right now, and he's pleading not guilty.
U.S. military officials say our forces boarded another oil tanker in the Caribbean Sea. That vessel is called the Olena. And according to U.S. Southern Command, the pre-dawn action was carried out by U.S. Marines and the Navy. The Olena is the 5th tanker that has been seized by U.S. forces as part of a broader effort by the president's administration to control the distribution of Venezuela's oil. Political prisoners are being released, actually, and oil policy is being realigned. President Trump says the Venezuelan government is giving the U.S. exactly what it wants, and that's expected to continue, at least for now. It comes as the State Department traveled to Venezuela today for the first time since the capture of Nicolas Maduro, according to a U.S. official. Here's Rebecca Castor.
The post-Maduro era ramping up in Venezuela with the release of high-profile political prisoners on Friday. Some have been behind bars for years, and most are part of the opposition to former leader Nicolas Maduro, who was arrested by the U.S. over the weekend.
What can I say? I'm happy. This incredible news that will finally happen, the release of these people deprived of their liberty.
President Trump called the move a smart gesture and claimed credit, saying he's working well with the new Venezuelan government.
We asked them to do that, and they've been great. They really have been. I mean, everything we've wanted, they've
given us. He also says the prisoner release prevented more military action, writing on social media, quote, "I have canceled the previously expected second wave of attacks, which looks like it will not be needed. But U.S. forces in the area remain on alert. And on Friday, they seized another Venezuelan-linked oil tanker in the Caribbean."
There won't be revenge, but vindication when we give lessons and give examples of what peace diplomacy looks like.
It comes as the president meets with the heads of the 14 biggest American oil companies at the White House. He's trying to get them to invest $100 billion into Venezuela's oil market. But Big Oil says it wants guarantees their money won't be stolen.
They lost billions of dollars in investments when the regime stole those assets. They stole those leases. They stole private property.
Protests are spreading across Iran, fueled by crippling economic conditions. In the last hour, we learned the death toll is now at least 62 people. Demonstrations erupted in Tehran and other major cities, prompting authorities to cut internet and phone services. It's the largest unrest since protests following the death of Mahsa Amini in 2022. Two congressmen, one a Democrat, the other a Republican, have asked a federal judge to appoint an overseer of the release of the Epstein files. Representatives Ro Khanna and Thomas Massie sent a letter to a federal judge in New York. It requests the appointment of a special master to oversee the Department of Justice's documents release in compliance with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. The letter argues the DOJ's December 19th document release did not comply with the statute as written. More than 2 million documents are still being reviewed. NASA says 4 astronauts will return from the International Space Station early.
And this is happening after one of those astronauts aboard the ISS experienced a medical issue. This was back on Wednesday. But NASA didn't share details of the medical issue, or they didn't name the astronaut. They did say, though, the person is stable. And this is the first kind of evacuation in the space station's 25-year history. All right, we do want to swing over to the weather situation because that next weather maker, Saturday, is the day we're really looking at right now.
An early Saturday now, that timeline has ratcheted up, Elizabeth.
Yeah, all the model runs that happened yesterday afternoon and overnight last night really started to push the timeline ahead for us on Saturday. We're still looking at fairly minimal amounts of rain, but it just may start earlier, and you'll be dealing with the rain on and off during the day instead of just during the evening. We're also looking at warm conditions. It'll still be warm this afternoon and again for tomorrow, even with the clouds that we'll see both days. We have a small chance of thunderstorms with the cold front coming through. This front definitely has a history of producing storms to our west, but once it crosses the mountains, it's going to lose a lot of its energy. We take a live look at North Hills right now. Mostly we're seeing cloud cover. We try to see the skies break up a little bit. The clouds break just a little bit earlier this morning, but we filled in, which is what I expected. Right now it's 63 degrees. We still have 10 degrees to hit our high temperature potential for later on this afternoon. We certainly have that chance. Our wind is southwest at 7. That southwesterly wind will continue to push some warmth into our area, so we still have a good chance to reach 70 or low 70s across our area. As a matter of fact, look at that, 72 in Clinton and 69 in Fayetteville. This is where our warm air is, and it will be moving northward. So again, we should see those temperatures climbing nicely through the afternoon. 61 in Roxborough and 61 degrees in South Hill. We zoom in around the triangle, 66 in Fuquay-Varina, 62 in Durham, 63 in Knightdale and in Garner. Around town, expect low 70s in the triangle, maybe upper 70s in Fayetteville. Again, it's almost 70 degrees there right now. And our normal high here is 52 degrees. So very warm days today and tomorrow. That temperature on Sunday of 64 doesn't look too bad, but it may not be what it seems. We may hit 64 around midnight early Sunday, and then temperatures during the day will fall most likely into the 50s. So we'll probably be turning much cooler during the afternoon on Sunday, more like 50s, even though it shows 64. Officially, that could be our high for the day. Tying a high temperature today at 73 if we make it, and I do feel confident in that. And then 75 on Saturday, even with clouds and a few scattered showers, mainly because of that flow coming out of the south. It is likely to be a breezy day tomorrow. Winds will be gusting up to 30 miles per hour, but when the cold front comes through, those winds could be even stronger. This is a look at 8 a.m. on Saturday, and you can see just a few light showers. The bulk of the rain may come in after lunchtime. Like we talked about at the beginning of the newscast, it may be our north and west counties that see the bulk of the rain in the morning, and then during the afternoon, as the front approaches, it'll become more widespread. With the front, it's possible that we'll have a line of thunderstorms that brings us severe storms, but honestly, we have an equal chance that it's not going to, that this front's just going to be too weak. This is a look at our potential to see some chilly temperatures in the afternoon on Monday. Of course, Sunday we'll see cool temperatures. We may see highs only in the 40s on Monday, so this is going to bring a lot of change along with it. On Saturday, we have the potential for that front to come through from Raleigh northward and westward. We do have a level 1 risk for severe storms. That chance is much greater back to the west. If you're headed off to the Panthers game in Charlotte, you'll want to remember that it's going to be breezy and there may be some scattered stronger storms as we get into Saturday evening. After that, we're looking fairly dry. Our next best chance of rain beyond that could be Friday into Saturday of next weekend.
All right, another dry week coming up. Well, coming up on WRAL News at 4 p.m., a new warning and new worries about someone impersonating a local law enforcement officer, where it happened, and how civilians can spot the red flags.
And then tonight at 5 o'clock, live roaches in the kitchen, employees not wearing gloves, and dirty walls. 5 on Your Side has this week's round of restaurant sanitation ratings. And so to come here at noon, recall alert. There is a warning about these car seats. Coming up, what experts say could happen to them that could put your child in danger.
Plus, timely taxes. Why tax experts say you should file yours early this year. Popular baby gear brand recalls certain models of its car seats due to possible safety concerns. Even Flow Company issued a voluntary recall for nearly 75,000 of its all-for-one, 4-in-1 convertible car seat. There are concerns the car seat may shift positions when it is rear-facing. The products were made between January 2022 and June 2024. Even Flow says there have been no reports of injuries. Both Walmart and Pepsi are accused of participating in a decades-long price-fixing scheme. The two companies are named in a lawsuit. It claims the companies raise the cost of the products at other retailers across the country and then drop them at Walmart. The lawsuit accuses the company of breaking antitrust laws.
President Donald Trump says that he wants to buy $200 billion in mortgage bonds, and he says the move would address rising homeowner costs right now. Right now, two mortgage companies, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, I should say, have $200 billion in cash used to make that purchase. The president posted on social media saying that this would drive rates down and make the cost of owning a home more affordable. Now, tax season is just weeks away, and tax experts say that it's important to file early this year if you can. Tax season starts January 26, and some tax experts say the filing process could face delays this year after tens of thousands of IRS workers were laid off last year. While experts say it is important to file early, the agency says it has updated its systems to improve filing efficiency.
Airport construction. Work is happening to renovate RDU's Terminal 2. The changes you'll see the next time you hop on a plane. And name change official. The brewery in Charlotte, facing backlash after the former co-owner was arrested, has a new name. Coming up, what this means for the future of the business. Here's a look at the winning lottery numbers.
Shot in 4K ultra high definition. Your number one source for local news. WRAL News. Coverage you can count on.
Happening today, work is underway to expand Terminal 2 at RDU.
Now, this is part of a years-long expansion project for the airport. WRAL's Heidi Kirk shows us the first steps that crews are taking in that construction process.
If you come here to RDU, you won't notice a whole lot of changes, except over this way, that construction wall that's been put up to mark the start of this construction process. This wall is one of the first steps in the airport's terminal expansion project, which will take place over the next several years. You can see here some of what it's going to look like when it's finished. Now, this part of the project will expand the ticketing and international arrivals area, add security checkpoint lanes, and upgrade the baggage handling system. That larger terminal project is expected to be completed in 2032 as part of the airport's $2.5 billion Transform RDU Capital Improvement Program. The area will be closed off for construction for approximately 2 years. A spokesperson for the airport says at the end of this, you'll see a lot of positive changes.
This is all about accommodating growth and making the travel experience better for people. So by adding more security lanes, a better baggage handling system, a larger international arrivals area, it's going to make for a smoother trip for people.
Now, here's the good news. Airport officials say that if you're flying out of RDU, you really won't see any travel impacts because of this, especially if you're coming in here to the arrivals area. They haven't closed any security checkpoints, and your trip should be just as smooth as ever. Heidi Kirk, WRAL News at RDU.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, the Secretary of Treasury in Minnesota has just made an announcement about actions to combat fraud within their state. So there's a quote here from the Secretary of Treasury that says President Trump has instructed the administration to bring accountability for the hardworking people of Minnesota. So in this press release, we found at least 5 action items that they're expecting to do, including having the IRS launch a fraud task force that's targeting misuse of funds. So we'll be sure to let you know any new information that we find out here in the Live Center.
Thanks for that update, Kelsey. We are working to find out what led up to a crash into a home in northeast Wake County. You're looking at video from Rollsville Road. You can see part of that exterior wall damaged and debris scattered across the ground in front of that house. We've reached out to State Highway Patrol to find out if anyone was hurt.
The Chatham County Sheriff's Office is looking for the man accused of impersonating an officer during a traffic stop. Deputies say that a driver was stopped by the man using emergency-style red and blue lights there. He was also wearing what appeared to be a uniform. The driver says that man demanded cash to avoid getting a ticket. The vehicle is described as an older white SUV, believed to be a 2000s Isuzu, and troopers are saying that this had very dark tinted windows and no spare tires mounted on the rear there. Anyone with information is asked to call the sheriff's office.
Also new at noon, Sycamore Brewing in Charlotte has changed its name after the former owner was arrested on child sex crime charges. The brewery will now be called Club West Brewing. Sycamore Brewing closed earlier this week at its South End location. The company's co-founder, Justin Brigham, is accused of sexually assaulting a teenage girl. He is being held under an $11 million bond.
The Trump administration is threatening to block millions of dollars for North Carolina roads. The U.S. Department of Transportation claims North Carolina did not do enough to vet immigrants applying for commercial driver's licenses, or CDLs. The DOT said that it found 19 immigrants who received a CDL in our state. The issue is their legal status in the U.S. would have ended before the CDL expired. President Donald Trump says that he will stop North Carolina from receiving $50 million in transportation funding unless the state makes changes. The NCDOT and Governor Stein did not respond to our request for comments yet.
The future of a historic school in Raleigh is being discussed. Johnson & Johnson says it has agreed to a deal with President Donald Trump's administration to lower prices and increase access to common prescriptions. The deal will also exempt the company's drugs from tariffs. The lower costs will be applied to drugs offered in the Medicaid program, as well as a new direct-to-patient platform dubbed Trump RX. The agreement follows similar deals between Trump's administration and other major pharmaceutical companies. A new study reveals how quickly the beneficial effects of weight loss drugs might disappear after users stop treatment. A recent study found that on average, people using weight loss medications regain nearly a pound a month after they stop taking them. Researchers also found that all weight lost is likely to be regained in less than 2 years after stopping treatment. They say the rate could be faster for those taking weight loss injections.
If you're looking for a relaxing way to unwind at night, you may want to consider picking up what's called a grandma hobby. They have grown in popularity, and here's why. Cleveland Clinic says that studies have shown that so-called grandma hobbies, such as knitting, puzzles, baking. These can be relaxing. This reduces your stress hormones and then calms your nervous system. The results are similar to mindfulness meditation. Grandma hobbies can also be rewarding since you are typically making something in the process. One psychologist says that another perk is that you can pick what to do based on your mood.
Match your activity levels to the hobby that you choose. If you are feeling tired, choose an activity that has slow, repetitive movements, such as crocheting or knitting. If your brain is feeling alert, a brain puzzle or putting together a puzzle can help to tap into your focus and to your concentration.
And she says it's important to remember that grandma hobbies are supposed to be a way to relax. So if you find yourself getting frustrated, maybe try something different.
I've always wanted to learn how to crochet. Maybe this is the year. A jam-packed weekend coming up. We'll tell you about the fun planned across our area in Out and About.
And reopening its doors. A school is back open for the first time since Helene hit. Coming up, what the community says this next step means to them. Dazzling lights and magic will be in our area this weekend.
It's time to take a look at WRAL's Out and About Best Bets. Cary is hosting its annual Under the Silver Moon Lantern Parade tomorrow. The event will be at downtown Cary Park. It will include handcrafted lanterns, live performances, and food trucks. This is video from last year. The parade begins at 6 p.m. on France Square lawn.
There will also be stunning displays at the Chinese Lantern Festival in Cary, but just so you know, this is the final weekend. This year, they're celebrating a decade of displays and the walkthrough experiences, the thousands of handcrafted illuminated lanterns in various themes. You can see all of this, and tickets are available online.
This weekend is also your last chance to catch Harry Potter and the Cursed Child at the DPAC. There are several shows this weekend through Sunday evening, and tickets are still available. For more weekend best bets, go to WRAL.com, search Out and About. Garner has a new fire chief.
Yeah, Penny right there on your screen will officially take that position next week. His swearing in is later this month, and Penny has been serving as interim chief since March. While in the interim position, Garner Chief Fire Rescue merged with that town, putting the department under town control. The town of Pittsboro will break ground on a new park. Teams will be getting to work on Lewis Freeman Park on January 24th. The park will be on Rectory Street in Pittsboro, and it's named after Lewis Freeman, the first recorded free black settler in Pittsboro. The park will sit on this land. And a school in East Tennessee opened for the first time since Helene devastated that area back in September 2024.
We're talking about Hampton High School. It's located less than 20 miles from the North Carolina border. Students were able to tour their rebuilt school for the first time yesterday before classes. For many of them, it is their first time seeing the inside of the building.
Freshmen have never been in this building before, and our sophomores were only in here for about 4 weeks. So we've got a lot of, getting students reacclimated to our building, our home.
But now they have a home base. The school's reopening was emotional for some students. The community locally and statewide worked together to restore the home of the Hampton Bulldogs.
You know, WRAL has been looking over and covering the rebuilding process for people devastated by the storm. You can watch our documentary, Helene, What We Lost, What We Found on WRAL.com and our YouTube channel.
Rain is coming, and some of those storms could be severe. We're watching that closely for Saturday.
Yeah, Elizabeth has been watching the hour-by-hour forecast for us and talking about that severe weather risk, Elizabeth.
And we have a brand new update. We had a level 1 risk for severe storms from Raleigh northward and westward, and that was still in place as of the beginning of the newscast. But often around 12:30, the Storm Prediction Center that puts out this map will update it, and that's exactly what happened. So Charlotte is right here. So this is pretty good news for folks headed to the Panthers game. We're going to talk about that forecast in just a minute. That area, so Charlotte is just on the outside of that severe threat. Not that there wouldn't be a few thunderstorms, but it certainly looks like there's a better chance as we get into far southwestern North Carolina, far northwestern South Carolina, and down toward the Gulf Coast. So the evening front will still move through, but that threat for wind damage or hail is definitely well to our west at this point. So let's talk about the timing. Yes, we have the potential to see rain all day Saturday. Saturday, but only for parts of the viewing area, and it will come and go in waves. It's not going to be a washout. We're not looking at heavy rain on Saturday. If anything, it will be just inconvenient for places that you need to go. I know this time of year, most of our events are inside. The ones that are outside, make sure you've downloaded our WRAL weather app. You can follow along on radar and see when the rain is going to be heading your way, and just, keep an eye out for the sky. I'm not promising we won't have a few isolated thunderstorms, but it doesn't look like they'll be severe. If we do see any, it's likely to be after sunset, and that threat certainly continues to diminish. Now, one thing that I feel confident about is we're going to end up with 30 to 35 mile per hour wind gusts. It's going to be a breezy, blustery day for tomorrow, and we'll have some rain on and off. Warm, windy, and of course the chance of showers in Charlotte as well. The game's at 4:30. If you're going to be tailgating, just remember you may not want to put your pop-up up with those gusts up to around 30 miles per hour. Here's where the front is right now. It's moving toward East Tennessee, stretching all the way down through the Gulf Coast. Here across Mississippi, we've had numerous tornado warnings over the last couple of hours. They've taken a little hiatus right now, but definitely the threat for severe weather will be greatest the farther south and west you go with this system. At 4 a.m., we're looking nice and dry, but once we get to 8 a.m. from Durham northward, really just our few northwestern counties have the chance of some rain in the morning up through lunchtime. Now, once we hit noon, we start to see that rain sliding eastward, but it'll be scattered and fairly light. And after 6 p.m., it really looks like it's just going to be isolated at best. Rumble of thunder is possible. Today, of course, we've been watching those thunderstorms, especially here across Mississippi. That's where the level 2 risk remains. But of course, as we look at tomorrow, that risk remains well to our west. Just a small chance that we could have a sprinkle, say just before midnight tonight. 50% chance tomorrow, and then in the wee hours of the morning Sunday, we've got 20% chance. But the bulk of today and the bulk of Sunday will be dry. We have seen an uptick in the amount of rain that we may see, but there in our northwestern counties where we'll see the bulk of it, it's still only half an inch. We really need more significant rain. They'll see that in the mountains. The mountains, especially from Asheville south and west, went under severe drought yesterday when the drought monitor came out, and so did 6 counties north and west of Raleigh. So we're desperately needed some rain. This is not going to be a drought-busting rain for us on Saturday. We'll take a look at the timeline again. We do have a 40 to 50% chance as we get through the day. It may go up slightly during the evening. And then, of course, we're looking at some clearing as we get into the day. Sunday, temperatures will start warm and they'll fall into the 50s through the afternoon.
All right, thanks for tracking that for us, Elizabeth. Eavesdropping on their owners. Your dogs might be picking up on what you're saying. Coming up, what a new study found when it comes to how much they actually understand. Well, as we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines that we're following for today.
Relief for drivers on Highway 54 near Durham. The busy stretch near Farrington Road is back open after being shut down for more than 19 hours. Police say a car hit a utility pole and that brought down power lines. The driver was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. Utility crews are still on the scene. They are working to repair that damaged power pole.
And new numbers show employment growth was less than experts predicted last month. Economists with Keenan Flagler Institute say that the bottom line was that the good news is we're not in a recession. However, the numbers are worrisome, according to them. They say one of the big questions for 2026 is whether inflation will continue to fall, which could affect consumer spending. The unemployment rate ticked down a percentage point to 4.4%.
The Panthers are getting ready for their first playoff appearance in nearly a decade. They are double-digit underdogs heading into tomorrow's wild card game against the LA Rams at Bank of America Stadium. Excitement is building. WRAL's Ashley Rowe, Chris Lee, Pat Welter, and Sean Gallagher are in Charlotte. They will have live reports during our evening news starting at 4 p.m. And don't miss the action tomorrow if you're watching from home. Just tune in to Fox 50. Kickoff is at 4:30 p.m.
Taylor Swift is leading the charge in the iHeartRadio Music Awards nominations, and she has been nominated for 9 of them, including Artist of the Year and Pop Song of the Year for Fatal Ophelia. Other top nominees this year include Sabrina Carpenter and Bad Bunny.
Girl Scouts are unboxing a new cookie flavor this year. It is called Explore More's. It's a Rocky Road ice cream inspired sandwich cookie filled with, get this, Chris, flavors of chocolate, marshmallow, toasted almond flavored cream. Girl Scout cookie season runs from January through April.
Although I will say the trefoils are pretty classic. I like those too. Something new is cool too. All right, well, some toddlers can learn new words just by overhearing conversations, but new research suggests dogs can do the same thing. In part of a study, owners of 10 gifted dogs introduced 2 new toys to their pets. They repeatedly said the toys' names, and researchers found 7 out of the 10 dogs were able to identify and then retrieve the new toys. Researchers found gifted dogs can pick up new words by monitoring the speaker's gaze, picking up on communicative cues, and extracting key words from sentences. I will tell you, we would tell Cha-Cha, Cha-Cha, toy, and she will go get lamb chop.
Oh,
so that's kind of cool.
Cha-Cha's super smart. I bet she understands you. Well, that brings us to today's pet of the day. Meet Rice. He is a 2-year-old bearded dragon. Rice is a big fan of salads. He's a curious and adventurous fella. Rice's adoption fee is $150. You can call the number at the bottom of your screen for more information or go to spcawake.org. Handsome fella. NBC News Daily is next on WRAL. Your next local news update in 30 minutes.
And don't forget, you can always get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Just make sure you turn those notifications on. Have a blessed day today.
And have a wonderful weekend.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.